from a lot of our community partners. So we're kind of just getting started here in the studio. It's 8:48. I want to take it over to the KUAM News Zoom room here, where, as I told you guys, we had another member of our news team test positive for COVID-19, and he looks like he's doing much better. So let's welcome one of our newbies on the news team. He's a newsbie, Peter Santos. Good morning, Pete.
Morning, man. How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Doing okay. A lot better than before. I'll tell
Right.
you that much.
And so, Pete, we're just I'm going to throw it over to you. Just start at the beginning. You tested positive for COVID-19. Obviously, you're on the recovery side of things now, but just let's start at the beginning. How'd you get it?
Well,
And go ahead.
for the most part, like I didn't think that I was gonna get sick. My cousin actually works at the Department of Corrections, and he was scheduled to go do his testing on a Friday, and I actually took him to the testing. You know, and my car is pretty small, so I guess I'm more than a close contact in that respect. But he tested negative that time, and I thought everything was all fine and dandy until that next Monday, and I started to feel it. Or actually, the day after, on Saturday, I started to feel it. Uh, Called to schedule an appointment to get tested, and went in and got tested. And by that time, I was already feeling like the body aches, headaches, and over the next few couple days, I started to lose my taste and smell. And it was very unfortunate that I lost my taste and smell around Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And I know mom made. I know she made delicious food. I couldn't taste it, but I felt the love.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's really just been kind of a steady ride for me. You know, uh, After testing positive, I've just had to do what everybody else is supposed to do and stay home.
Pete, when you talked about the onset of the body aches, right? Um, what was that like? Because that's what I hear a lot of people talk about.
You know, like it might be a little too much detail, but I called up my sister and said, like, is this how you feel every month? Because it was pretty bad. Yeah, like, to be honest, like even just like making a fist and stuff was like work. It was difficult. But for the most part, the body aches kind of just like made me want to just stay in bed, and I was just exhausted all day. And I don't I'm lucky I didn't have to deal with any hopefully I still don't have to deal with any respiratory stuff. So it's really, I took the body aches and the lack of taste and smell and the headaches and stuff, and I kind of took that as a win, that it's just been that and nothing more.
Right. Was there ever a moment when you got those body aches? Because I know being in the media, you hear a lot of things that you report on. You hear a lot of things that maybe you can't report on, right? Um,
Yeah.
for privacy issues or whatever. So you know the virus is real. So when you started getting those body aches, was there a moment where you were scared that you didn't know which COVID you were going to get?
Yeah. No, I mean, keep in mind that my cousin tested negative the first time. I guess that was one of those issues with the virus load and
Right.
whatnot. And so as soon as my cousin got that negative test result, I was going back to seeing mom and having dinner at mom's house and stuff like that. And it was scary for me because she's part of that whole vulnerable population, and just that fear of, will I get my mom sick? Or, oh man, I was just at my mom's house, you mean to tell me that now he's positive a few days later? And you know and it kind of made me like sit back and like my mom was all super worried. I mean, and I got all the tools and everything that I'm supposed to have. I got all these vitamins and everything. She she freaked out, and I was a little bit more scared for the other way around. You know, and that was pretty much my overall thought process when it first happened.
And how are you feeling now? You still look a little out of it.
Well, thank you, appreciate that, man. Yeah. No, but I mean, I don't want to be one of those people that just kind of like sits and sulks and negativity, like, oh, I'm sick. I want to get up and move around. So, thankfully, I've the body aches kind of subsided a little bit, and I'm starting to gain my smell and taste back. And every day I'm just trying to figure out whatever way I can pass the time and still be, somewhat productive. So I wanted to get back to doing this as soon as possible.
Pete, what was your? I know you lost your sense of taste, your sense of smell, but what was your appetite like?
To be honest, like I feel that, you know, when you lose your taste and smell, you lose that urge to eat because at that point it's all just like mush pretty much. And so, um, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I still ate food, and for whatever reason, when my cousin would make me breakfast in the morning, he would still season the eggs and whatnot. And I told him he's just kind of wasting ingredients at that point. But for the most part, uh, I guess you still want to eat, but then you don't have that sensation, and so it's just a weird feeling. And at that point, it's all just based on mouthfeel. So I was eating like a lot of stuff that was kind of substantial, not so mushy. A lot of fruits. I
That's
took
it.
their advice. Ate
Right.
a lot of ate, went through like a whole bag of mandarins in like 2 days.
Wow.
So got
Pete,
my vitamin C.
I know we've talked here at work about the demographic, right? The young guns out there getting the virus, getting and spreading the virus. Was that moment where you pop positive that you're like, God, donuts, man, I'm in that demo? People are gonna say, "Oh, here we go, another young guy who likes to go out and party and get everyone COVID."
Yeah, pretty much because for the most part, I don't think I'm invincible, but at the same time, you do feel that sense of like, oh, as long as I'm safe, as long as I wear my mask, as long as I wash my hands and everything like that. We say it to everybody every day. You know, I have the blessing of calling Lillian Posadas or something like that, and she actually takes some time to talk to me and tell me how things are going down over there, and it all makes us very scared. And so for me to pop positive, I was kind of like taken back. I was like, man, it got me. And you know, I mean, I live in an apartment with my cousin, so you know, we're pretty much in close proximity. So I felt like it was bound to happen, but at the same time, it was just weird to be a part of that demographic.
Right. You're going back to the body aches, Pete. Were these the kind where you get really sick and you just can't sleep and you're doing that like tossing and turning?
Yeah, I didn't think that it would be like that, but I really feel bad for my mom now who has a restless leg syndrome
Oh,
because apparently that's kind of what I felt. So like I'll be trying to sleep, I'll be completely exhausted, but I'm just like tossing and turning because like my body is just like so tense or whatever.
right.
And even waiting in line to get tested, and we showed up there like 2 hours prior, and we were still like, we're one of the first 10 in line, but we were there for like a couple hours, and I would have to open up my door and stretch out my legs because my body is just so sore. And then National Guard comes over and knocks on my glass and says, "Stay in my car." You know, it's starting to be a serious thing that I'm opening my door, but I had to do what I had to do, man.
What about all the things we hear about when people get the virus. There's always that issue of public health. Did public health reach out to them? Did they reach out to them in a timely fashion? What was your experience dealing with public health as a COVID positive patient?
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, within the amount of time that I've been, sick or I've popped positive, which was on that, I don't even remember what day. I got tested on a Monday, or I got the results the same day. Yeah, so on Monday. So since Monday, I've received a total of 3 calls. One of them was yesterday, and it's they called me when they told me I was positive, and just told me what to do. Then the second call, they called me and just checked on me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of that Sarah alert, and I said yes, but I never received an email. And another thing is that I just thought about it. I actually have the COVID app installed on my phone, and it was the first time I tried to press report a positive, and when I opened up the app, it asked me for a verification code, which I didn't get. I had to like make a few calls to actually get the verification code. And so if I didn't make those few calls to get the verification code, chances are I would have gone without, you know, having known that information to actually put it into the app and make the app do what it's supposed to do. And I understand public health is busy, like I get it. And I don't fault them. I don't expect them to do those things where they come outside my house and say, "Hey, can you open the curtains and tell me what color car I'm driving?"
Yeah.
I didn't expect any of that. I didn't get any of that. And for the most part, they're very very kind on the phone, very nice, and they seem very what is that like empathetic, and stuff like that, and they care. And for the most part, that was pretty much my experience with public health. All of 3 calls.
Right. So, what about the contact tracing part of it? Were they just calling to make sure you're staying home, or were they calling to find out who you came into contact with and all that?
I haven't heard anything from any of my other family. I guess they kind of did what they said, and pretty much just rely on us to tell them the complete truth and nothing but the truth. And so, I was pretty straight up when I'm saying, yeah, I go over and I used to go over and see my mom, but ever since my cousin started feeling sick, I haven't been over. And I guess they take into account, a certain amount of days that uh, is kind of like a worry free, not really a worry free, but like a window of time where they're just like, okay, those people should be fine. And if he's been in his house this entire time, then I don't think, they need to go further than that.
Right.
But yeah, the calls that I got were pretty much just check-in calls. The first time when my cousin popped positive, uh, the funny thing is they called me to tell me that he was positive, and then I already had been positive at that point already.
Yeah.
So it was one of those like a little too late,
Right.
kind of things.
What did you take, Pete? What did the doctor advise you to take?
For the most part, the doctor kind of just said Tylenol, um, flu medication, lots of fruits and vegetables, water, stuff like that. But I was taking a lot of tea medicine kind of thing, like the Theraflu stuff. Um, a lot of just vitamins, pretty much.
Did it freak you out
And
at all when you got the list of what to get and you were like, "What? Baby aspirin? What this? What? That's it?"
yeah, who freaked out is my sister because I give props to that girl for making all those drives to Payless, you know, like straight up during the busy times because we need something. So props to my sister for getting all the medicine.
Right. Pete, so you stay in an apartment, both you and your cousin, positive for COVID-19. Um, Maybe share a little bit about how you're able to eat. I mean, the family dropping you stuff. What was that like?
Yeah, for the most part, really, it has been my sister that's taken it upon herself to kind of be that, saving grace for us. So she'll go over to the store and buy us food, and the amount of Gatorade that I drink, especially now, is kind of appalling. And so like she would be making constant runs to the point where she ended up just buying the big jugs. But yeah, it would really just be us relying on my sister. And if my sister couldn't do it, you know, I wouldn't want my mom to come over. I wouldn't want anybody else who's a little bit more vulnerable to come over. And we were just fortunate that we had my sister to kind of do the runs and get us what we need, get us our food. And then on Thanksgiving, it was nice. Our neighbors walked down with their masks and left Tupperwares of food for us and said, we can keep the Tupperwares. Happy Thanksgiving. So I appreciate
Yeah, go ahead
that.
and keep that Tupperware.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no. I know our name's written on it, but you just keep it. What
It looked
was
like they were live Tupperwares, man.
what was the
But yeah,
stick?
same thing with mom. She dropped over Thanksgiving food, and uh, she's tearing up when she's FaceTiming me saying, "I hope you like it. I made your favorite," that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was really just us relying on other people, because it really gets to you, like the fact that you cannot even go out and get a burger for yourself if you really wanted to.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, it was really just a blessing to have family like that.
What's your message to the viewers, Pete?
For the love of everything sacred, please continue to wash your hands and stay safe, and socially distance. Continue to do everything. All this car score stuff. It's at 4.2, and then we're all free and willy-nilly to go about and do whatever we want to do. Don't get me wrong, I am a part of that demographic, and I do stupid stuff that kids do sometimes, where I ask somebody to swing by and drop something off or whatever. And even if it's only for a moment, I would hate to be that guy that got my mom sick. At the end of the day, it all kind of boils down to that for me. Like, I had an uncle that passed away from COVID, and it's one of those things where it's like, as soon as you hear the word ventilator, things kind of start to take a real turn. That, yeah, majority of the people don't make it off the ventilator. And my uncle was in the States at the time, and he has a daughter that's here, and nobody saw their dad pass away. And with how much with how much I love my mom and how close I am to her, and and stuff like that, it was really something for me to kind of set me straight too, and kind of tell me, hey, you have to really think about other people, not just yourself. And my sister is really a big proponent on stay home and just stay home. And I guess, this is, I'll take it as a lesson, I'll take COVID as a lesson to kind of think of others and, over myself, and how what I do directly affects and, correlates to the state of the island. And I really, really sincerely hope that people just like get it in their heads, especially with Christmas coming up. I know everybody's going to want to, get together, but for the love of everything sacred, do what you have to do so that we can clear this virus up and, get back to some sense of normalcy, as everybody always says.
Right, yeah. Pete Santos of the KUAM news team. Well, Pete, God bless you and good luck on your further recovery from the virus. And, be safe, my friend.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. See you.
You guys be safe.
You too. 907, that's Peter Santos of the KUAM news team. COVID positive 2 on our small little news team. Adriana Cotero, of course, we did an interview with her. She caught the virus too. Jay?
Yeah, the one thing that just stuck out to me about Pete, first of all, that's never easy to do. Pete is in his 4th month with us here. And you especially have really gone to great lengths to take him under your wing and say, welcome to the team. We knew him before, but he kept saying that, and he goes, I just got to protect my mom. And despite the fact that he himself has the virus, and he kept saying, I got to do what I got to do to take care of my mom, take care of my mom, take care of my. I mean, is there anything more noble than that?
Not a damn thing, Jay.
And that's the one thing that kept him going. Is don't say woe is me and everything like that. Say, what do I got to do to keep my mom safe?
Oh, there you go. 908. Hey, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with Cyrus from Guam Animals in Need.